So Streets of Syndicate is a crime thriller about two girls, Amanda and Lanice, who are old friends and haven't seen each other for a few years, and they reconnect at the beginning of the movie. Polar opposites. Amanda's this shy, introverted artist. Lanice is this outgoing smartass. So they complement each other really well. And at the very beginning of the movie, they get approached by this small-time criminal named Hacker who has this briefcase that he stole from his boss. And he wants Lanice to take it for him for a little bit so he can get away. Lanice takes the briefcase, not really wanting to, but then they immediately begin getting chased by a hitman who is after whatever is in the briefcase. So as soon as that happens, he's now chasing the two girls through town. And on their adventure as they go through this, they live in this small town in the middle of Ohio called Syndicate, Ohio. And they find out very much that on the surface, the town is very dull and boring, but underneath, there's this huge criminal element of mob bosses and hitmen and drug dealers and con artists and all kinds of stuff that just slowly come out of the woodwork of the town, right? So all these characters start to kind of reveal themselves as Amanda and Lanice go on their journey. And there's all this stuff that goes on. And the two of them go on this huge journey through the movie, and it all takes place in like a day. And by the end of the movie, they've both changed drastically. So there's a lot of humor kind of mixed in, even though it's a crime thriller. But there's a ton of action. There's shootouts and chase scenes and fight scenes and all kinds of stuff.
I don't know much about art, but one thing I don't know is any rich artist.
I'm probably not going to be rich doing this, but that's not the point.
It is the point. For all that hassle, I best be pulling in some bank. How you gonna get away with it?
Get away with what?
Chet. I don't see how someone as superficial as him could even stand to be seen in public with a lowly little art school chick like yourself.
Chet knows when not to cross the line.
There's a line? When did that happen? So what's Chet gonna be?
An attorney, which is something that turns my stomach. It's just what this world needs, another lawyer.
Not all lawyers are bad.
Now you're defending him?
I'm not defending him. I'm defending the good name of lawyers.
So we finished shooting it in September of 17. And I started editing the movie together. And this is a very good lesson to all filmmakers is don't take on a project that you're doing for basically no money unless it's a passion project. Whatever that passion is, whatever your stories you want to tell, it doesn't matter. If it's not a passion, don't tell it. And I learned that lesson the hard way on this one. So when I was done, I cut the movie together, and it was roughly 80 minutes, something like that. And I just wasn't happy with it. There was about a third of it that I frankly just hated. And looking back, it was stuff I didn't really like in the script that I wanted to take out of the script. And we finished the movie. When I finished the editing, I decided I'm gonna cut out all the scenes that I didn't like. So when I cut it down, it was about 45, 50 minutes left. And I'm like, oh shit, I don't have a feature. We just spent a year working on this movie. And a lot of people had helped. So I didn't want to disappoint them. I didn't want to let them down either. So I came up with an idea and I rewrote a third of the movie. And before I wrote it, I kind of outlined it to figure out what I was going to do, contacted all the actors, and basically came up with an idea where I could expand some of the smaller characters and create sort of this other subplot that would tie into the main plot of the movie. And it would still tie into the girl's story and all that kind of stuff. And all the actors were on board. They wanted to make it the best they wanted to do, or the best that they could. So then spring of 2018, we reshot that 30 pages or so. It took us about 5 or 6 days. And at that time, I also wanted to experiment with shooting things myself with no DP. So I shot it all myself. We finished it. I edited that in, and it actually flowed pretty well.
Time's up.
I'm sorry, could you please excuse us? I'll see you again next week. Vito, what can I do for you?
The case has been stolen.
Who would steal from you?
An ex-employee of mine. I need your help with this matter.
What are you gonna do about it?
I've got calm on it. You should have it back shortly. I know it's been handed off to a couple of kids.
Yes. I see your man watching the 2 artful dodgers. I'm going to need some more time meditating on this. Notify me immediately if the ticket changes locations. It is imperative that you let me know so we can dispose of it properly. Oh, otherwise, grave things could be coming your way.
I promise you'll be the first to know when I get it back.
My advice to any filmmaker, anywhere, if you have not made anything yet, if you're just starting out, first of all, go make something. I don't care what camera you have. I don't care if you shoot it on your iPhone. I mean, they're making iPhone features now. It just doesn't matter. Like, there's so much talk about image quality and lighting and all this kind of stuff. And it's not that those things aren't important, but when you're starting out, you need to learn how to tell a story. And if you don't tell an engaging story with good performances, everything else is completely irrelevant. Doesn't matter what it looks like, doesn't matter what it sounds like, doesn't matter any of that stuff, okay? You can shoot a movie on a phone with no lighting, shoot it just as it is, but if it's a compelling story and has good performances, people are gonna buy in, right? You're always gonna get criticized. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how perfect you think it looks, somebody's gonna criticize it. So just don't worry about that stuff. And take away the fear. That's the biggest thing is, well, what if people don't like it? Or what if it fails? So what? You learn from it, you do it again. So you just gotta be willing to put yourself out there and take those risks. Because in the end, they're really not that big of risks. The risk is not doing anything. If you don't make something, how can you be a director? And you may even find out you don't want to be a director. Because you don't really know until you do it. Because it's hard. It's not an easy thing. It's a blast, it's a ton of fun, especially if you keep it fun and don't take it too seriously. But in the end, do you really know you want to be a director until you do it? You might think you do. But once you do it and you find out all the things that go into it, you may find out you don't want to be a director. So that's also key. You might find out, man, I really love the editing. So then focus on that. So if you do all of it yourself, you'll find out what you like, what you don't like, what you're good at, and what you're not good at. And all of those things will play into your future. So I think that's the most important thing.